Hi, I'm Austin from Austin's Nerdy Things, and today we'll be taking a look at getting started with SDR, the long overdue video for the accompanied blog post. And the SDR that I'll be using is this. This is the same SDR that's front and center, the top picture. This is the new Alec NE SDR Nano 2. It works for a wide variety of frequencies. So we'll be covering listening to FM radio, temperature sensors around the house, and also seeing if we can pull any aircraft signals out of the sky to see where the airliners are overhead. With that, we will go ahead and jump in. I will be doing a screen share alongside of the blog post. Taking a step back, we do have the SDR. This is a SMA type connector. Along with that, I got 3 different antennas. Number 1 is a 433 megahertz antenna. This one is for the temperature sensors and stuff like that around your neighborhood. This one is 978 megahertz, which is an ADS-B frequency. This one, I don't know where any of my 915 ISM antennas are, but this one's close enough. And this is 1090 megahertz, which will be for the main aircraft ADS-B signals. So you can see they're all the same general physical size, but that doesn't really have any bearing on what is inside for the elements of the antenna. So these will all work at different frequencies, even though they look exactly the same. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so coming from that intro, we will now be doing the computer portion of this video, which will be getting started with SDR, which is of course software-defined radio. So this is a SDR tutorial. Here's what is SDR. As I just went over, I was holding up this new Alec NE SDR device and the 3 antennas that we'll use. So that's what I will be using. All right, so number 1, purchasing a suitable SDR. Here's a link. I recommend that one. It does include a couple different antennas, which is super useful, and I have no idea what the price is on this these days. Let's take a look here. $43. So yep, that will work. It looks like it's also been updated to version 5, so use this one. It's great. You can see it's got plenty of reviews and ratings. This is the one you want to get started. So okay, with the SDR in hand, let's get started. I'm using Windows 10 for this. Which is my daily driver, but I do use Linux for the long-term monitoring. So once I kind of get something prototyped out in Windows, I'll transfer it over to Linux. So the instructions for installation are a bit long. This is the link to that. I don't want to copy and paste this. Somebody spent a lot of time doing this, but essentially you go to airspy.com, you download this file, then you double-click and install .bat. Which puts things in an SDR sharp folder, and then you have to plug in your SDR device and run this other thing called zadig. I don't know if that's how you say that. And anyways, you kind of reprogram, I don't remember if it's the driver or the device itself, but to make it usable as SDR and not a TV tuner, which is what it's originally for. So after that, step 13 of the install is open up SDR Sharp, which is where we will go next. So hopefully this is still on my desktop. It's been a bit. Where is SDR Sharp? Maybe it's in downloads. Okay, we'll just extract this to desktop. Okay, so if you had followed the instructions above, you will now have a file called SDR Sharp in the folder you used. So I did have that in downloads. Anyways, okay, so here's SDR Sharp. Okay, before starting SDR Sharp, I will be plugging it in, and so I'll turn the camera around, and you can see that I have it here. The first thing we're going to try and do is FM radio, which is 100-ish megahertz. So I will use this 433 megahertz antenna since it's closest. But FM radio is so strong it doesn't really matter what antenna you use. All right, so now I have it plugged in, ready to go with the 433 megahertz antenna attached. And so now I will fire up SDR Sharp. Let's see, what do I have over here for the next step? Go ahead and double click and launch it. The first thing you want to do is select the RTL SDR USB option from the sources. So here's our source. We'll do RTL SDR USB. Next up, we need to crank up the gain to get a useful signal. So click the gear icon, make sure the device is selected. Of course it's not, so I was worried about that. Alright, so it does look like I need to go back and do at least one of these steps. Okay, well it turns out my SDR wasn't detected since it has been almost 2 years since I did this last. So I am now running Zadig because it wasn't detected properly. So let's try this. We're going to go to options. We're going to go list all devices. We need to also uncheck ignore hubs or composite to parents. Select the bulk in interface 0. What does this say? Make sure the box to the right of the arrow shows Win USB, and then you can do replace driver. Okay, so that's already on Win USB. I wonder what it says for this. Okay, so we're gonna try this one. Okay, so now we have the prompt to modify a system driver. We'll say yes, that is what we want. And after this, we will reopen SDR sharp and set the source to RTL SDR USB, and then we're gonna press the play button right away to see if we can start getting some signals in. Should have also tried a different USB port, but here we are. Okay, it's reporting the driver was installed successfully. Click close, get out of that, relaunch SDR sharp. We've got our RTL SDR USB selected. I'm gonna click play. Okay, so the last time I hit play at this point, it immediately started the radio on the station I had it tuned to, and then it recorded far louder than my voice did, so I'm re-recording this part. So now we are ready to listen to FM radio. Let's make sure we've got all these settings right. Ensure the WFM radio button is selected in the type. That's right here. Set the zoom slider all the way down. This is how zoomed in you are on the waterfall. Set the step to 100 kilohertz right up here, and then click the frequency numbers up, down. You can see that it's split here. The top half will make your frequency selection go up. The bottom half may go down on any of these. So pretty handy way to navigate around. So that should get everything ready to go. And then with all that out the way, click the play button and watch the signals start streaming in. So here we go. This is going to be, maybe I'll turn the volume down. Yeah, we'll do something like this. And then here it is. You can hear it.
Janet, is BMO a new phenomenon?
Currently on a commercial. I'm going to take a pause here and make sure that you can still hear my voice over this turned all the way down. So the zoom, like I said, is adjust how big or small the waterfall is. The FM radio stations are super wide, so that's not going to be super helpful. Range, something to do with the signal. I don't exactly know what. Offset, same kind of thing, just kind of offsets your numbers to see more or less on here. And then actually I'm looking at these wrong. So zoom, contrast, then range is the one we just did, and then offset, yeah, does that. So a lot of selections over here for how you want to, specify what you're hearing. This is going to be, I guess, pretty much anything not automated. Voice, Morse code. Okay, well, let's see. I think I can finish the re-recording at this point. My setup here looks exactly the same as it does on this blog, except I'm sitting at the dining room table and there is no cat right in front of me. But yeah, the radio works great, and with that, I will drop off here on the re-recording and pick back up to the original for the next part, installing RTL-433 and listening for wireless temperature humidity sensors. So now that we know the radio works, let's see what else we can pick out of the air. Start by downloading RTL-433 from GitHub. This is a version, I don't know how new or old this is at this point. It's clearly from 2019. There's almost certainly a newer release. But anyways, let's just download the newest one. That's not what I want. I want to go to a part of this link. I want to go to so that still looks like it is the newest one. That's not what I was expecting. That's okay. So I have just downloaded it a couple times here. Let's see, that's in Control J for downloads. Go find this. So yep, there's the two files, just like you see in the screenshot. You're going to extract these to desktop. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to open up a command prompt and go to that folder. Okay. So now we're in the directory, so we can run the commands now. The most basic is to run it and only specify the gain. So we use 40 decibels for the FM radio, so let's try 40 again. So we'll do RTL underscore 433-G for gain, 40 for 40 decibels. Alright, so it's telling us, it's trying a configuration file, these don't exist, and then it's registering some device protocols, and then it says USB open error. That's because it's already being in use. It's because it's already in use by this, so I will close this out and rerun it. Okay, so now it's saying it found the tuner, did some sample rate stuff, so we're getting 250,000 samples per second. The gain is set to 40 decibels, and we are tuned to 433.92 megahertz, which is a standard for Accurite and a number of other weather sensor type devices. And so ending in tuned to 433.92 if all went well, so all did go well. And we just got our first readings. This is from an Accurite tower sensor with this ID. Let's see if that matches any of the ones in here. It does not, so I'm wondering if a neighbor has a new Accurite tower sensor. The temperature is 19.3 C, which is just under 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is the outside temperature right now. Okay, so we got another one, 21.5 with an ID of 6547, which still exists, so that's probably one of mine for humidity 54. It is a humid morning here. So we can see we are already pulling in temperature and humidity readings from somewhere. You know, like I said, this one I believe is one of mine. It's been a while since I looked at the IDs. But that one is clearly the same ID as right here. Battery low is no longer battery low, so that's a good thing. I don't know what this other one's coming from. So, picking up at least two different devices. This 9439 has come through 6 times. The Accurate stuff does repeat the same message 3 times in a row, which it essentially uses as a signal strength. You know, if you get all 3, it's a good signal. If you only get 1, like in this example, your display will show fewer bars. Okay, so that's the same USB SDR that's been plugged in. So now we've got, you know, some weather information as well. So next up is dump 1090 for the aircraft signals. So I'm going to close this out with Control C. I'm going to try it a couple times. There we go. Finally exited. All right, so I don't remember exactly what I did here, but I ended up just grabbing the same file and somehow putting it available for download for you guys. So extract it somewhere, like your desktop, in a folder called dump 1090. Let's see if it's still there for me. It is. That is great. Okay, so there is a .bat file, batch file in the folder. Double click to run it. So I'm going to double click to run that, and I'm also going to, sure, we'll allow access, that's fine. So this is with that same 433 megahertz antenna. This is already pulled out locations for 6 aircraft. I will switch this antenna to one that is tuned closer to ADS-B. We'll see how many pop up. Yeah, so we're getting a couple more. Getting a lot more. So, yeah, this is, you know, a couple of these have a couple hundred messages already. Altitude ranging from, let's see, 5,400, speed of 84. That plane is surely either landing or taking off at Broomfield Airport to some LXJ at 45,000 feet. Who knows where that one's going, but yeah, so, you know, this is still from my dining room table. You can see a number of these. Yeah, so this will just show you where they are. There's a lot of different ways to display this info. I got a similar amount of aircraft last time I did this. Um, and so yeah, that's with the 1090 megahertz antenna, which is the correct frequency for the application at hand. This is essentially what it looks like, but at a dining room table instead of in my bed. So that's the end of that. I did want to bring up, let's see, Pi Aware, Home, Fluffnet.net. This is my ADS-B install with the full antenna running on Raspberry Pi. FlightAware is, of course, the large company that does a lot of flight tracking stuff, and so this will be an example of what you can do with a really big antenna on your roof. There'll probably be about 100 aircrafts. Yes, there's 236, 215 with positions. The farthest one out is way out here. Let's see if we sort distance reverse. We got 174 nautical miles from here. So this is, it's picking up a lot of aircraft. We live near this black dots, so getting planes landing in Denver International, all the little Cessnas doing their laps around the Broomfield, also known as Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport. So this is the topic for a different blog post, but anyways, this is some of the things that are possible. I did want to also do on the fly rtl-amr, which pulls out meter readings from smart meters. Let's see, I don't remember if I have Go installed or not. This might be a bit of a rabbit hole. So let's terminate that, and I'm going to type in go-v. So I do not have Go installed. Okay, now I have Go installed. Then try it again. Okay, now we've got go-v. So now we're going to install this rtl-amr. Okay, so presumably it's installed. Okay, so terminal A, we need to do rtl-tcp, which probably won't work from here because I need to go find out wherever that got installed, which will be here on my desktop. Alright, so terminal A will be desktop/rtl SDR. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll do RTL SDR. That's not it. RTL TCP. Oh. Okay, one directory further. Okay, RTL TCP is going. Found one device. Okay. Alright, so now in another command window, we will do, it says terminal A, RTL TCP, which we have done, and terminal B, rtl-amr. Okay, so that just set the frequency over here to 912 megahertz, 912.6. So now I'm going to switch out an antenna for one that's a little bit closer. But either way, we can still see readings coming in. A lot of readings. So we've got 5 different meter readings so far, all of type 12. I forget the types. Here's the consumption. So this is either going to be electric or gas. These are all different meters so far, it looks like. This one is ours. I recognize that number. This one is ours too. So one of these is gas, the rest, or vice versa. And actually I do have a full-on dashboard for this, so let me try that. Dashboard 3000, login, hopefully I remember the login. Alright, so utilities is where I have this. So here's the electric usage. This is exactly what is being pulled for our house specifically. And then this is, essentially everybody's in the neighborhood.
gas usage as well. And actually, this is everything, and then a couple other things. So I'm storing this and feeding it. So there's a lot of info that comes through on these. So that is how you can also get your electric meter readings from the same device as FM radio, temperature sensors, and aircraft position sensors. Very handy device. So with that, I will be concluding. Just a quick demo of what is possible with one of these little devices. So go ahead and leave any questions or comments or thoughts in the comments, and I will get back to you. So thanks for tuning in.